What's up, guys? Welcome back to the video today. Sorry for the hoarse voice. It sounded a little weird this afternoon, but we're going to be working on installing an N2MB Wot Box on this 2020 Mustang GT. I don't know if you can see it beside me or not. This car is gorgeous. Love this car. I have not got to do one of these Wot Boxes on one of these newer S550s yet. I have done them on the previous generation S550, the 15 to 17 cars. They're really not that bad. They're pretty simple to do. This one threw me for a loop. There was definitely some stuff that was different. One of the things that really got me is I didn't know the 15 to 17 cars had a 2-connector PCM. This one has a 3-connector PCM, and I was looking for a connector, and I was like, it doesn't exist, and sure enough, it's right there in front of my face. I missed it the entire time. But I worked with the guys at N2MB. I talked to them several times trying to understand how all this stuff worked. Basically, in a nutshell, I'm the idiot. But I wanted to do this video for those guys, for any other idiots like me that were having trouble or difficulties or need a little bit of a coach, and pretty much that's it. That's it in a nutshell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I mounted the Wot Box, where I mounted it, and how I ran the wires, where I ran the wires to, what pins on what connectors, and we'll get everything situated and sorted out. Let's get on it. First things first, as you can see, we got our laptop chilling in here because we've already got everything pretty much set up. There is our Wot Box. It is slightly crooked right now. I meant to get some double-sided tape today. I'll go get some tomorrow, and I'll get that situated a little bit better because that tape's not wanting to hold right. The wires will go right up in the glove box here. There is a little flappy-do right here. You're just going to run your wires through the little flappy-do. And as you can see, that knocked my tape off, but it just closes right back up. Definitely going to have to get that tape fixed. But I wanted this box a little bit lower down in there anyway than what you just seen it at. But it's going to be mounted about like that right there. So that's where that runs. And then underneath this kick panel right here, there's a bolt right here that holds the dash in. I ran my ground straight from there to here. It is tight. It just barely fits, but it's perfect. So underneath here, as you can see, we've got this multicolored strand right here. It's hard to see with this footwell lighting, I know, I'm sorry. But we got this multicolored strand right here. This should be red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. And there's also a black in there. It's going to this ground right here. But they're going to go through the firewall right here and into this grommet, which you can now see on this side of the firewall. Now that we're on the opposite side, you can see all of our color strands coming through right there. This is going to be loomed up, run through this wheel well liner, and we're running it up through this hole here behind the washer fluid neck. Now, I say behind the neck. The reason why I'm telling you that is because it's currently out. We want to make sure it stays behind the neck, gets everything tucked up nice, neat, and where it's supposed to be at. 15 to 17 cars, they do not have a 3-connector PCM that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure they only have a 2-connector PCM. This one has 3, and I totally just kept overlooking the one on the bottom because in my head, I wasn't even thinking about it. And on the bottom there, your blue wire is going to be going to pin 68. It is a blue and white stripe. You can see it down there. That 3rd connector on the bottom is going to be your blue wire. You can see our blue wire goes there. I've got it pretty short, so you doesn't stand out much. Our yellow wire is going to go to the middle connector here. It is going to go to pin 78 to a yellow with violet stripe. And then our green right here is going to go to the top connector, and it's going to end up going to a number 45 white with blue stripe, and that one's going to be our clutch signal. Sorry, this one's going to be our clutch signal. This one's going to be our RPM signal, and the bottom one is going to be our TPS signal. Then the last 2 wires that you have come up here is going to be going to this upper connector right here. You have a purple wire right here. This purple wire, you're going to cut this one in half. You know what? Let me stop for a second and back up. Let me make sure that I'm very clear on this. I'm gonna save you a lot of headache. Those 3 wires on the bottom, the ones that go to the connectors, please, for your sake, do not cut those wires in half. You do not cut the wires off or apart. You don't cut them apart. All you're gonna do is take a razor blade, shave the wire back. You want to take the rubber coating off of the wire and solder your new wires to it so that they are piggybacking off of it. You do not want to cut those wires. So please do not cut those 3 wires, because if you do, you're going to have a bad day. it's not fun to try to put them things back together when you don't have a lot of room. Make sure you give yourself some extra room, and the tape will hide everything else. Now, continuing back on, we have this purple wire here. We are going to cut this one in half. You actually cut this one. It's the only one you're going to cut. You cut it in half. Red goes to the connector. Orange goes away from the connector. I would say you could see that right now, but I've already got it. I've already got it taped up and loomed up. Now, the reason why I went ahead and got all that stuff done before, I was trying to hurry up and get this car back together. But as you can see, it's not that hard. We're talking about 5 connections here, 1 underneath the dash. It's pretty simple. So guys, I wanted to make sure that I relayed this to you very, very clearly and plainly and simply stated. Please go to N2MB's website, find the instructions for the kit for your car. I'm particularly pertaining to this Mustang. If you read the instructions 100%, start to finish, all of it, top to bottom, right to left. If you read the whole thing, I promise you everything you need is in there. They're not kidding when they say, hey, I'm having problems. Did you read the instructions? Yeah, somewhat. So, having said that, there's a couple little things I want to touch on real quick. Number one, as I already said in the video, make sure you don't cut them wires. I can't stress that enough. Do not cut the wires that yellow, green, and blue go to. If you cut those, you're going to have a bad day. I done said that. I'm saying it again because it is that serious. You can do it. I've heard of people doing it. They're like, oh, that's how I do all of them. No, not me. I ain't about that. What I do is I take the razor blade, I strip the wire between here and there, usually about a fingernail length, and I'll take the razor blade, stick it in the middle of all the strands and kind of wiggle it just a little bit. What that ends up doing is creating a hole. So you get like a little hole. You run the new wire through it, wrap it around real nice and tight, and then tape it up. After you put solder on, solder it and then tape it up. Then you got a very good strong bond with good connection all the way across, and nothing's gonna come apart. Then you tape it up and you're good to go. So that's how I do it. Not telling you it's the right way, not telling you it's the wrong way. I'm just telling you that's how I do it. Now, the other thing that I definitely wanted to make sure that I talked to you guys about, big problem that I had personally because I'm an idiot. Don't do as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. I did not finish reading the very last page of the instructions, which plainly states that when you set up the Wot Box software, you need to make sure that it is set to Mazda Speed 3 settings. The ignition source has to be Mazda Speed 3. Every other Coyote car is Ford CKP. This one is not. I don't know how many of them are. I don't know how many of them aren't. All I know is that if you follow N2MB's websites on instructions on their website, clear as day, that is what it tells you to do. If you do not do it, I can tell you exactly what happens. You set the two-step to $7,000, it triggers at $4,200. Ta-da! Not correct. So, make sure you just follow their instructions. These guys have got a beautiful ride out online. However, I have seen so many people, both on YouTube, in the forums, on Facebook, I said both and I named 3 things, all over the place. People keep saying, oh, you can't get the clutch signal under the hood, or you can't get the brake signal under the hood with an automatic, or you can't get the ignition signal here, you got to get it off the driver on the cool pack, or I keep hearing all kinds of random things. Yes, these cars are more and more complicated, but these boys have got it figured out, I promise. They got it down to a T. Follow the instructions, you got it down perfect. You just seen in the rest of the video how I wired up this car. All 3 wires connected to the PCM, 1 to each connector. Can't tell me it's not doable. It's physically impossible to tell me it's not doable. I just did it. It's done deal. All I did was follow their instructions. So, before I continue to harp on this, I will go ahead and say, if you like this video, please give me a like. If you found this video very useful, comment on it and tell me what you found useful. What part helped you the most? Was it helpful that I said, hey, read the instructions? Was it helpful that I showed you kind of where the wires were? Or was it just helpful that I told you that it's really not that hard and you felt the ability to be able to go and do it yourself and you did it and you were successful? Let me know. I enjoy stuff like that. I enjoy seeing other good stories of me helping somebody. It's what keeps me going. In the meantime, Please like, subscribe, come back, check out the next video. I've got some more stuff in store here soon. Some of it a little bit busy work, some of it actually useful. Yeah, just as always, make better choices. Like, don't modify your daily driver. That's a pretty good one, pretty useful. I'm not gonna listen to it, but you probably should. If not, I'll see you at the next party. Later.